Today in Grow a Garden in Roblox, I have a list of pets for you. A list of pets that if your goal is to become filthy rich, I'm talking just rolling in value, rolling in pets, rolling in shekels. These are the pets you want to have. Because without them, you're probably not going to get that far in the game. And especially the last few, you want to pay attention to those. If this sounds interesting to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Become part of the first 300K OGs on the channel. And let's get into the video. So I've got 10 pets. And the first pet is useful. It's really useful. You definitely want to have 8 of these to throw into your garden so that whenever a new event comes, you're ready to farm the new event as fast as you can. And before I get into that, one thing to note, I'm actually going to give you useful information above and beyond just listing the pet. I'm also going to tell you how heavy you want that pet to be and at what age to maximize its ability to do the broken things. So I'm actually going to give you some useful numbers as well of just saying, use this pet. No. I'm getting into specifics here, so pay close attention. Pet number 1 is the squirrel. And I've already talked about him at length. I want to be clear exactly what you need. And that person has a huge frozen squirrel. Congratulations, that's really cool. With enough squirrels in your garden, you'll be able to use reclaimers for free. This is clutch. It's a super powerful thing. You could walk up to any plant you want and pick it up and automatically guarantee your lucky reclaim. Your reclaimer did not consume a use. This is useful whenever a new event comes and you don't know what you need in one of your gardens. You can clean your garden completely, keeping all your seeds and replant it depending on what you need for whatever event it is you're trying to farm to make a bunch of shekels or grab a bunch of pets in this game. So specifically, how big of a squirrel do you need? How heavy does it need to be? Well, I'll give you an idea. To start, all of my pets are age 60, 70, and they were done their effects by age 50. But they were heavier squirrels. And not even like that heavy, just mildly heavy. The minimum weight you want for a squirrel is 0.84 kilograms. That's really, really light. Squirrels are always like 1.2, 1.3, 1.6. They're really easy to get heavy. All you need is a minimum of 0.84, and not even rainbow. This is totally normal squirrel. And at age 100, it will give you what you need, because what you need is each of your 8 squirrels to be at 12.5%, which means if you have heavier squirrels, they'll get to that 12.5 much quicker. My squirrels got to the 12.5 around age 40 or 50 or so. So get 8 squirrels, pretty much doesn't matter the weight, just so long as they're not below that number, just so long as they're not below 0.84, and they'll get the job done. Now that was the weakest and least valuable pet in this entire list. It's useful for farming events, which means farming pets and stuff, but it's not that useful. We're going on to number 9, and now we're getting into pets that are genuinely useful. And number 9, you have the barn owl. The barn owl allows you to acquire pets out of shops heavier, and heavier pets have better effects, and heavier pets are more valuable. And right now is the best time to acquire barn owls because they're at among their lowest values, period. Each barn owl caps out at the following percentage. Each barn owl caps out at 0.4 kilograms each. So you need to have a minimum weight to reach 0.4 kilograms. And some owls will get there faster than others depending on how heavy they are. And this is the minimum weight you need in a barn owl to reach 0.4 kilograms at age 100 without golden, without rainbow, just a regular barn owl. And that weight is 1.08 at birth. Now, you can get barn owls much heavier than that, much easier, which means they'll reach that 0.4 way before age 100. But this is the minimum weight you need to maximize the barn owl's effect. Now, combined, 8 barn owls will actually get to the cap very easily. There is a cap on combined barn owls of additional 3 kilograms when buying from the store. And when that triggers, oh, it's good. Now, there's a problem with the barn owls. The barn owls have a maximum of 0.4, but always have a minimum of 0.1. So sadly, when you buy a pet from the shop, it could actually minimum get a 0.1 because for some reason, the 8 barn owls don't stack together on the minimum. The minimum is always 0.1, not 0.8 if there's 8 of them. You know what I mean? Math. It's silly, but when they trigger up to the maximum of 3. And some of you may be doing the math in your head and you're like, Crow, I don't need to max them all out to get to the maximum of 3 because 0.4 times 8 is 3.2. There's some leeway there. And to you, I say, yes, there's leeway there, But this just means that if you actually reach that maximum 3.2, it'll give you greater odds, not by much, but greater odds of reaching the cap of 3. Because if you hit 3.1, it's 3. If you hit 3.2, it's 3. And pulling heavier pets out of the shop is fantastic. Right now, in this current update, there's not much of a need for it, but that doesn't mean moving forward, there's not a need for it. Because any pet in the shop ever is now barn owl farmable. So grit barn owls, they're so useful. Moving on to pet number 3 is actually a duo of pets, and you can pick one or the other, and that is the Triceratops and the Echo Frog. Because being able to instantly spawn fruits on your trees when you're trying to farm for that huge chance of a fruit growing is great. And you definitely want to have a Triceratops or an Echo Frog to trigger those over and over. The Triceratops will ram every 3 minutes and potentially 3 times to advance the growth of a fruit by 33 minutes. And the Echo Frog, every 5 minutes, will make something advance 24 hours, whatever it's closest to. And these are useful because something like the Bone Blossom has a 2.5% chance to be naturally huge. Not using sprinklers, not using anything, just naturally huge. So if you want to grow some of the most ridiculously sized bone blossoms or other fruits in the game, you need a combination of things. You need sprinklers on the ground, you need pets that can affect that particular type of plants, and then you need its built-in innate natural huge chance. And the best way to continually farm fruits over and over and over to try and get that natural occurring huge chance is to use things like the Echo Frog or the Triceratops to grow them over and over. And if it didn't trigger huge, you pick it or delete the fruit and you have the Triceratops do it again and again and again. That's the best way to grow gargantuan fruits in this game. Moving on to pet number 4. Pet number 4 is super important if your goal is to acquire pets in this game because pets equal value. And that is the best egg hatching pet in the game, which is this guy right here, the bald eagle. I'm currently sitting on some bald eagles. This is my biggest bald eagle at 12.13 or a 1.2 kilogram hatch, basically. Every 7 minutes, they decrease the egg hatch time by 70 seconds. And then this is key. There's a 70% chance for the time the advance to be multiplied by 3.98 times. So instead of 70 seconds, it could be almost 280 seconds. Now, when it comes to the bald eagles, weight does matter, but not as much as you'd think. When it comes to the bald eagle, certain things don't scale by weight. The time does not scale by weight. It's always 7 minutes and 4 seconds. The advance time is always 70.4 seconds, and the chance is always 74.4%. These never change with age or weight. They're always static. The thing that changes is the multiplication. This number scales. Now, the bald eagle was a store pet long before we had barn owls, so it could spawn anywhere from like 0.9. And if you calculate that, you can see the multiplication's not that great. The multiplication on a 0.9 is only 3.4 times. But when you get that up to that 1.23-ish kind of range, it can go all the way up to 4 times. So all in all, the weight doesn't matter too much on the bald eagle. Just getting them to age 100 is kind of the goal. And obviously, you want bald eagles because you want to hatch eggs faster. And you want to hatch eggs faster to get more pets, to get more chances at rare pets, to be able to increase the value and make yourself filthy rich in the game. Moving on to pet number 5, who I currently don't own. I think I traded him away in a trade for something. I can't remember what it was. What you need, number 5, the Spinosaurus. For those of you who want to grow a single big fruit with a ton of mutations, the Spinosaurus is super clutch for you, and you're going to need a fair-sized one, but not necessarily a big one. Basically, what he does every 20 minutes is he devours random mutations from 3 other fruits and roars and spits them basically onto whatever fruit you have favorited. You favorite your biggest fruit, and the Spinosaurus will work by putting mutations onto the single big fruit. At age 100, weight of 1, so a tiny Spinosaurus, it spits out every 18 minutes and devours 5 mutations from 5 different fruits. If you bump that up to a 2 kilogram at age 1, which is fairly big, it then jumps up to 16 minutes and devours 7 mutations from 7 different fruits. And how you would do this is very simple. You would have your 1 fruit in your garden. For me, is my huge dino shroom. And then you would plant maybe 100 carrots. So if your huge fruit is over here on this side, you'd plant 100 carrots. And I'd spread the carrots out all throughout the garden, all the way down. And then on Saturday mornings, during admin abuse, those carrots are basically going to catch mutations. They're going to catch Jackpot and Molten and Void Touched, etc. And then once the admin mutation is done, the admin event is done, you get a trowel, and you pick up any of the mutations on the plants. You pick up the plants with the mutations you don't have on your big plant. And I'll pick them up and I'll put them aside. And then once I have all the mutations that I need, I put them aside. I will delete or harvest or pick up all the other carrots I don't need. And I'm left with carrots that have mutations I want to put on my big plant or my big fruit. Spinosaurus gets to work. He goes om nom nom on the carrots and spits them all on the favorite fruit. Bob's your uncle. You are transferring mutations from random carrots to your one fruit. The Spinosaurus is super important if you want to grow a valuable plant in this game. Moving on to number 6. This pet is clutch because without this pet, you will never ever grow a valuable plant in this game. It's physically impossible. And that is, no, it's still pretty much impossible. That is the butterfly. You need to get yourself a butterfly, even just one, because the rainbow mutation is everything when it comes to valuable plants in this game. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm gonna grab a bone blossom. I've got this bone blossom. I've made it base 100 weight. It is worth 222 million base. Let's start there. I'm gonna put on just a handful of mutations. Okay, check this out. I adjusted the weight. I put a bunch of mutations on it. I have it basically worth 150 billion even because I want to demonstrate the power of rainbow. This is with no rainbow on it, okay? Now, I'm going to find another times 50 multiplier for you. Fortune. I'm going to add fortune to this list of like 5, 12 mutations. Add fortune, it goes up to 160 billion. Fortune, the times 50, added 10 billion. I'm going to remove the times 50 fortune. Go back to 150. Watch what happens when I add rainbow. It goes from 150 to 7.5 trillion. Not all mutations are made equal. There are 3 weird mutations in this game called variants. They are silver, gold, and rainbow. And silver, gold, and rainbow are applied on this side of the equation. And all the other mutations are added together on this side of the mutation. As such, rainbow is the single most important mutation you're ever going to find in this game. And without it, you cannot grow anything of any value at all. The butterfly is super valuable for that reason. Acquire the butterfly. Without it, you'll never grow a valuable plant in your life. Moving on. Now we're going to talk about some really important pets and what weight you need for them to be effective. We're going to talk about the Brontosaurus, like this massive rainbow Brontosaurus I have here. Brontosauruses are interesting. They're really useful if you have one particular goal and one particular goal alone, and that is to grow or hatch heavy pets. Even huge or titanic pets. And let me explain. A pet naturally out of an egg will hatch at 2.2-ish kilograms. With the Brontos maxed out, and the Brontos maxed out at the following percentage, they will ever grow no higher than a combined 30%. So when you have enough Brontos on the field where together they equal 30%, then you can take a 2.2 kilogram all the way up to like 2.86 kilograms, right? That's really valuable. Having a 2.86 kilogram whatever pet is super useful, but that's not where the value really lies. In this game, you can hatch a huge pet, and a huge pet hatch occurs once every 1,000 eggs. It's super rare, but people like huge pets, and not only do they like huge pets, they like even bigger huge pets. What about pets that instead of 6 kilograms are like 8 kilograms or 10 kilograms or 11 kilograms? That's possible thanks to the Bronto. The Bronto is used in case you ever do hatch a huge pet. All of a sudden, you may hatch a titanic pet instead. So how do we get to 30%? This is actually kind of hard. Here we are with a Bronto at weight 1 kilogram at birth. At max, it gets down to 6.25%. Your goal when it comes to Brontos is to use as few Brontos as possible to get to 30%. And this is where the math gets a bit tricky. If you want to only use 4 Brontos to get to 30%, so you can have other things hatching as well, like koi. We'll get another koi later. If you want to use 4 Brontos, all of your Brontos have to add up to 30%. So on average, they need to be 7.5% each. To do that, a regular 2 kilogram Bronto only gets to 7.25. It's a little bit too small. It needs to be 2.25 kilograms at birth to reach 7.5 without silver, gold, or rainbow. Is that possible? I honestly think it's impossible. I don't think they can hatch at 2.25 kilograms. Comment down below if it's possible. Even if they can hatch 2.25 kilograms, it's really rare. So you're going to need gold and you're going to need rainbow if you only want to use 4 Brontosauruses. If you want to use 5 Brontosauruses, don't worry about gold or rainbow. pretty much any way is fine to get a 30%. But if you want to get a 30%, you probably need gold or rainbow. For example, if you can use rainbow, you only need a 1.2 kilogram Bronto with rainbow to get to 7.5%, which you need at age 100. So 4 rainbow Brontos of at least 1.2 kilograms at age 100 will get to 7.5%. If you wanted to go to 3 Brontos, even 3 rainbow Brontos do not get to the numbers you need. 3 rainbow Brontos, 2.2 kilograms at birth, which is about as heavy as they can get, caps out at 8.5%, which is 25.5. Yeah, 25.5%, not quite 30. So what can you do? How do you use less Brontos so you can maximize the number of koi? When you hatch eggs, here's what you have to do. 3 huge Brontosauruses, minimum weight 5 at age 1, without rainbow will get you to 30%. 3 of them. If you want to drop it down to 2, you need 2 8.7 kilogram Brontosauruses, which are Titanic. 2 Titanic Brontosauruses with rainbow. They each have to have rainbow. If they do, they each reach 15% and 2 of them will hit the 30% cap. So those are the numbers for the Brontosaurus. Basically, you're going to use 4. I use 4, right? I don't have a Titanic Brontosaurus. That's a humongous Triceratops. I don't have a Titanic Brontosaurus. I don't have 2 of them. So I'm using 4 rainbow Brontosauruses to get the job done. We talked about the Brontosauruses. Now we're going to talk about the koi. What's up with the koi? This is the koi. He gives you a chance to get eggs back when you hatch them. The koi also have a cap combined of 50%. So if your goal is to get eggs back, you want to focus on getting as many koi as you can, 8 of them preferably, of high enough percentage to reach 50%, which means each koi has to average 6.25% in an effect. How do we get to 6.25% with koi? That's a struggle. Koi are shop pets. As such, they're capped around 1.2 to 1.3 kilograms and can't get any heavier. A 1 kilogram koi at age 100 is 5.2%. That's not nearly enough. A rainbow koi at 1 kilogram is 5.8. Still not enough. The answer is the weight of 1.21 kilograms minimum with rainbow at age 100 will just barely pass the 6.25% you need. You need 8 koi over that weight with rainbow at age 100 to max out at 50% of your eggs coming back to you when you hatch them. And I probably don't need to explain why this is super valuable. This allows you to stretch out how many eggs you have available for a very, very long time. It takes 100 eggs and it turns into 150. It takes 1,000 eggs and turns it into 1,500 eggs basically. Koi are very valuable for farming eggs, for farming pets, for acquiring pets to increase your wealth in this game. And now we're going to move on to part 2 of this, the seal. This is interesting. Let me show you how the seals work. Now, the funny thing about the seal is that he also caps out at 50%. As such, you're aiming for the exact same number, 6.25% per seal times 8 to reach that 50 cap. Age 100 seal, weight number 1, doesn't get close. For seals, without rainbow, without gold, without silver, weight 1.71 kilograms will just pass the 6.25% you need to max out your seal effect. This is the weight of seals you're trying to require, 1.71. You can also do huge seals, you can do Titanic seals, they all get the job done. That's the minimum weight you need. Previously, you needed more weight. Previously, seals went up to all the way to 64%. Now they're capped at 50%, you need less weight. But the seal allows you to take any pet in the game, sell it in the shop with the seals in the field, and it will have a 50% chance of giving you an egg when you sell a pet. This is how people get filthy rich. They use shekels to buy pets, they put seals on the field, they sell the pets into the shop, and they get eggs back, allowing them to hatch eggs to try and get the T-Rex, the butterfly, the disco bee, etc., etc., etc. And the final pet that will make you an immeasurable amount of wealth, regardless of what it is you're trying to acquire in this game, is the raccoon. The raccoon is a ridiculous pet for many, many reasons. Oh, there's so many reasons why he's so good. Let me slap down my raccoon in the field. I got this big boy here. Look at his effect. It scales with, doesn't actually scale at all, if I recall. Every 15 minutes, it goes to another player's plot and steals a random crop and gives it to you. And that sounds pretty innocent until you decide to have an alternate character. And on your alternate character is a crop with only 1 fruit, like my dino shroom. and the raccoon goes out and takes that dentist room and brings it back to you over and over and over every 15 minutes for the rest of the time, allowing me to make an insane amount of shekels very quickly. But that's not the only use for the raccoon. What I've done for this event, for example, is I've put a stage 3 plant, a single stage 3 plant in my alternate garden. The raccoon goes over, grabs the stage 3 plant, brings it back to me. I take the stage 3 plant, I hand it in, I get rewards infinitely for forever. The raccoon is the single most useful and valuable pet in this game until the developers smarten up and decide to remove its stealing ability. The ability to duplicate a fruit is far too strong. It's broken this game, and if you want to break the game along with it, you need the raccoon as the best pet in the game. Hopefully this video was useful to you. Hopefully it was valuable. If it was, go ahead and hit subscribe. Become part of the first 300k OGs on the channel. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.